I've always believed that when you have a screen, you have a responsibility as to what you put on that screen. And as the curators of the screen, it was our responsibility to put something on that screen that spoke to what we do, you know. So to use the digital billboard to tell a story or to do something was one idea, but to do it in such a creative way was really what brought the brand to life.
For a couple of years, for a long time, I've been driving through the connector and looking at that particular billboard. It's not just any other billboard, it's that particular billboard. So I wanted to use a billboard to release a film. I wanted to challenge myself if I can do that. If somebody would allow somebody to do it on a billboard, which is a commercial space. And when you have a lot of limitations, starting with having no sound because it's on the streets. So you kind of have to go back to silent films.
So for us, this was a way to actually say, this is something we're passionate about. We want to bring it to life and we want to share it with you. And not just share it within the confines of the people who are staying in the room, because we could have just as easily put the project on the screens in the room. We want to share it with the entire city.
We are human beings and we are creators. We communicate. We tell stories. Pixel, in that sense, it's sort of that type of story, which is this message that we are spreading out. And putting the Pixel film on a screen like the one we're talking about, it's like throwing, you know, a message to the ocean. And hopefully, a lot of people are going to catch that bottle and open it up and say, wow, this is a connection. This is opening a dialogue, in a way.
What I love about this is that we are putting something out there in its purest form and allowing the viewer to have a response. And whatever that response is will be the right response.
It's going to be interesting to look at this film and hopefully talk to people in the context of how they are seeing the film, because they are going to have sound around their personal lives. They're going to have radio stations going on. They're going to have perhaps, you know, just traffic noise. They're going to have maybe a conversation on a cell phone. They will experience the film with their own soundtrack. I think there's a potential for a lot of personal points of view with this particular film, and that thing is so fascinating because in reality, yes, we are doing a film that is very silent.
I think that there's going to be an expectation because we're so pre-programmed to seek out the message, and usually it's an advertising message, especially for that medium, that many viewers are going to, even after having seen one of the segments, are going to be asking, well, what was it selling? And I think that might be a call to action in itself, that we need to realize that not everything's for sale. You know, not everything is being sold. And there is still a component of art in our digital world. And I think that what I love about this project so much is that it's truly cinema in the way cinema, I think, was originally devised.
It's true that, you know, 10 seconds is not a limitation for me. I think it was part of the challenge of doing the film, especially thinking of, okay, we are not going to be able to release the 2 minutes in a row. So we have to think, first of all, well, then we are dividing the film into episodes, into installments. So relates a little bit more to the experience that we can have on television, where we follow a TV series and we follow 13 episodes, for instance. So then we know those episodes are going to be just 10 seconds. So the idea really is interesting to me when you think, what type of story can you tell in 10 seconds? And is that 10 seconds only a story by itself, or can play a role within the context of the other 10 seconds? I would like to think that what we're trying to do is really asking people to discover their very raw sense of wonderment.
I'm a big believer that everything comes down to relationships and to common interests, and that we find some communality in some way, and that's what drives every relationship. In the case of working with Felipe, it was really a question of seeing his work and seeing how willing he was to go beyond the norm, but also having this discipline behind his work that would really provide the foundation for a project of this kind.
We are taking the film and the movie experience from the movie theaters, and now we're putting it out there on a screen on the street. And yes, we are in downtown Atlanta. It is very noisy. We are overlooking the connector where I-75 and I-85, come through the heart of the city. So I think it's fascinating to all of a sudden be this sort of artist that comes into that arena and say something. And who knows? What if all of a sudden, the world by itself becomes a movie theater? And when you are thinking about billboards, you have several, if not thousands of billboards at the same time releasing a film. Wouldn't be that wonderful? I mean, I think it's just interesting that we are proposing now a new medium or using a billboard with a new meaning. And hopefully, Pixel can really showcase by being surrounded by real advertisement.